I'm Carly Reid from CX Today, bringing you all the latest news and conversation from the customer experience technology industry. Today, I'm talking to Savio from Vonage, and we'll be discussing remote working and its challenges. Welcome, Savio.
Thank you for having me over here, Carly.
No problem. And thank you for joining me today. So, how about we kick off with a quick intro? Tell me about what you do.
Sounds great. Well, I run product and engineering for Vonage. And for those of you not very familiar, Vonage is one of the world's largest communications platforms, which powers hundreds and thousands of businesses, millions of users, and is responsible for communicating billions of messages across the world with our very simple vision of accelerating the world's ability to connect.
Fantastic stuff. So, tell me, Savio, what conversations are you having with your customers at the moment?
Yeah, it's fascinating, Carly. I mean, we obviously know what's happened over the past 12 to 18 months in terms of the pandemic, and it's changed a lot of the perceptions that people had about how they can run their businesses. Obviously, everything literally went virtual from day one onwards from the pandemic, yet businesses still continued. So the conversations that we're having right now is how do we continue to go from this offline to online world on a regular basis and be flexible in doing that? Because it's so difficult to predict what's going to happen in the next 6 months. We still have the Delta variant out there. So people were expecting that they're going to have in-person conferences. And now suddenly there's like a little bit of a doubt on that. Is that going to happen? People were expecting to go meet in person in the offices themselves. That may not happen for at least another 6 months, maybe longer. So as that happens, travel gets impacted, retail gets impacted, healthcare gets impacted. So there's a lot of cascading impact. So I think that kind of shift between how do you go from online to offline, that's very tricky, and people are trying to figure out how to navigate that. And what that's resulting in is an opportunity for those businesses to take what they had, which was sitting on premise and very static, and even accelerate that further. So there was this early wave of customers last year, which said, if I want to move my contact center from an on-prem contact center to the cloud, I was sitting on it for years, and then suddenly now, because every agent is virtual, I got to do it, and I got to do it now. So there was an early wave of customers which started doing that. But there were still some laggards, and there were still some holdouts who said, no, you know what? I think we have the features we need. We need to have the capabilities we need for agents to be able to talk to each other, whether it's a wallboard or something else, or a report that's missing that we don't want to lose out on. So we won't do that yet. But now, because of this sort of shift between, is it going to be online? Is it going to be offline? When are we going to return? We're seeing some of those people also move forward. So I think the shift is continuing to accelerate, and we're seeing that with some of our customers as well. I'll actually give you a good example of a customer, a company called Aramex, which is one of the largest brands in the Middle East, and they have completely rethought their support and their service experience to their users. It used to be a very traditional contact center based approach, but they're now transforming themselves into more of a messaging based contact center using WhatsApp, and how they can then engage with users where they are. So, and I think that becomes very interesting for us, because that's how we are powering that underlying platform. We're using our what's called the Vonage communication platform to allow that capability to happen. And
Fantastic stuff. And those are some really interesting conversations. I mean, all you have to kind of do is go back to, December, January, and people weren't even talking about on-prem or hybrid work. It was all about remote working. So fantastic stuff. Thank you for sharing that with us, Savio. So what are maybe some of the challenges that you think that agents are facing while remoting from home? So
yeah, I think it's the same thing that all of us faced in some ways when we started working from home ourselves. I mean, we have about 2,000 people in Vonage. All of them obviously started working remotely from day one onwards. And the capability we had to provide to them, whether it was just a simple, VPN connection to be able to securely log in, or it was collaboration tools. We have our own BBC Vonage Business Communication solution, which is a video collaboration solution that is used by our customers. And of course, we use it ourselves. And that literally brought the entire company together. And the same thing with how we are enabling this for our contact center customers. So I'll give you a few examples, which is very interesting. This is the human behavior that you have, which is offline, where you are working, but you don't even realize you have it till you don't till you're missing it. So simple things like a hallway conversation that an agent might have and ask about an issue that they ran into. How do you replicate that? Well, messaging within the context of that application helps, right? So whenever you can quickly say if it's somebody's online offline, that helps. I mean, that provides a way to communicate. The other thing is something as simple as an open forum. So there's like an open channel within a VBC or a VCC solution, which is like, ask me any question. And if somebody is open over there, they can do that. It's like the concept of the virtual water cooler. So that's another example of how that's changing. And then the third thing is something like the wall boards. Most of the agents, when they're in a location, in a physical location, they use the concept of wall boards, where there's stuff on the wall where people have put down, here are the issues that they ran into for today. Here are the big things that they need to do for tomorrow. So how do you replicate that concept of the wall boards? And what we did is we created some dashboards as a replication of that, and tried to include that as part of the wall board concept within our VCC solution. So I think there's different things that you need to do in order to make people comfortable, because at the end of the day, it's that basic human psychology of feeling connected, no matter where you are, and learning about as much as you can and serve the user that you are doing at that point. So there are a few examples like that, and some of our customers really appreciated that we are thinking ahead, and we're trying to provide that capability versus them trying to say, well, what do we do? Because the agents are alone, they're feeling alone. They don't think that they have the help they need. But with these kinds of tools and platform, that helps to enable that for them.
Absolutely, thank you. And you sort of touched on this in the last question. How has the shift to digital impacted the way that we work remotely?
Yeah, indeed. I mean, this goes back to the point of um, I think it's changed us permanently or rewired our brains in some ways. I mean, there's a good study research out there which says that anything you do for 10,000 hours or for 30 days or more literally rewires your brain in terms of how you think, how you do. And so when we've been in this mode now for the last 12, 18 months, and what we do on a really daily basis, how we work, how we communicate every day, sitting on top of a laptop or a machine, talking to our colleagues over a video collaboration tool. It's rewired our brains to think about how do we communicate better? How do we structure our conversations better? How do we enable that kind of simple water cooler conversation that I talked about earlier? So what we have done is we have taken our technology platform, which is the VCP technology platform, and we have tried to make it such that it enables that in a very seamless way. Because technology has only one purpose at the end of the day. It's to make people's lives better and easier. It's not technology for the sake of building new technology. It's about making it easier. So video, great example. We saw a massive uptake in our video API solutions because of the reason like what I just talked about, whether it's collaboration, whether it's telehealth. Telehealth was a significant uptake over the last year because you couldn't go to your doctor's office. Same thing with things like online events, where most of that was happening at scale. So video played a massive role over there. Verification, that's another one. You ordered so much online because everything was remote. Well, how do you track all of that? How do you provide the right identity for the person? Is this the right user? Is this the right person who even logged in? So verification played a huge role in that. We have a solution for verification which allowed to do that. And then finally, messaging. I talked about that. I mean, remote work was only possible because of the way that we were able to connect with each other in such a way that it didn't feel like we didn't know what each of us were doing. It had to be synchronized. It has to be structured. And messaging played a huge role as part of that. And again, going back to my comment about our Vonage communication platform, all of these three things plus the contact center solutions were all enabled on top of this platform. And as we talked to customers, they appreciated the fact that they got all of those capabilities from us.
Fantastic stuff. Well, Savigny, I've really enjoyed speaking to you today. Thank you so much for joining us. Um, and yeah, I mean, that's it from us. If you've enjoyed our conversation, please do give us a shout out on social. And if you're a CX fan and want to see more like this, then you can subscribe to our weekly newsletter at cxtoday.com. So from myself and from Savigny, that's it from us. Thanks for
Awesome.
watching.
Thank you.